All right, we are back. Welcome to the NerdBrand Podcast, everybody. We're back with Josh Suter from the Chamber of Commerce. Which one, Josh?
The best one, the Chamber of St. Matthews.
We're also here with Mitch, our creative director at NerdBrand, and our chief experience officer. If you have a good time at NerdBrand, it's because of John Payne.
Is it?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
not from a party perspective.
No,
probably, but,
yeah. I mean, you write really beautiful emails that make everybody feel good about themselves, and I don't do that.
Well, we all have our talents. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. My emails kind of come off like really bad spelling. Like he's using Siri. We can tell.
Do you use Siri a lot?
I actually do. If I try not to answer anything. Here's the thing about me. If I'm driving around a lot, I actually am. So I try to do that. We use a program called Slack to communicate internally with each other, kind of really quick back and forth. And sometimes I use it for that. Sometimes I use it for text messaging. Rob got one from me earlier today. Robert, I should say, because we do have another Rob around. And, I look at what it says later, and I'm like, I'm going to have to clean that up.
It explains a lot, honestly. I didn't know you used it that much. I was like...
Yeah, because my hands are busy, or I'm doing something, or I'm multitasking. So, that's kind of my role in the company. I'm kind of like... I'm flying over the trees, man. That's all I can tell you. And so it kind of that's the role I've fallen into lately. Except for when I review websites that are broken in so bad ways, like we've come across the last 3 weeks. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. We won't go through that right now, though. But on this episode of the podcast, we're talking about product placements in movies. And I think we all have a movie in mind where we're like, they did it well. And we also probably have one in mind where we're like, man, that was just dumpster fire. So we're going to get started with that. But on this episode, again, we have Josh. He's back. We're going to discuss movies that place products in them. Josh was recently elected president-elect of the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce Professionals. So congratulations, sir.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Very excited about that.
We would play Hail to the Chief, but I don't know if YouTube would like that.
I'm not even sure I'd like that. That's not an office I want.
This is a quote that comes from you. But I've also taken a liking lately to Space Jam and have been watching the OG version. The newer one was okay, but not as good as the original. I'm going to let you kind of go after that and explain that.
Explain yourself
All right,
to LeBron James.
What did you mean by that?
All right, well, I'm just going to say it the way I said it to Jason out earlier. I don't know how you take Space Jam with Michael Jordan and try to replace him with LeBron James, who is nowhere at the same level as my boy Michael Jordan.
He threw it out there.
I said it, and I make no apologies. And that movie was garbage, and I will not watch it again, ever.
I hear you.
Feelings.
Yeah.
They're not going to join the chamber, so it's okay.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, sometimes you do, like, it's just so overtly done. You're just like, you start to recognize, and I may be getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but you start to recognize, like, this is an ad. I mean, I know we say everything is an ad, Mitch, but, when you want to watch a movie, you want to escape and be entertained. You don't want to be advertised to, preached to. You're kind of like, I want to be entertained. I want to enjoy what I'm seeing and escape. Yeah. And some movies don't. Well, a lot don't do it. They just don't do that very well. And I'm gonna bring up a couple that I think did, and I didn't. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't catch it until like a couple days ago because I went down a YouTube rabbit hole, and then I was like, you know what? I should mention this on the show. So the movie was reviewed as a giant ad from the beginning to end, referring to Space Jam 2. So when do you guys think it has gone too far in a movie with ad placements or product placements?
Well, I mean, it's like you said. I mean, it's just generally, if it becomes intrusive to the experience, where the only thing you're noticing is the branding that's ever present and it's taking you out of the story, then I'd say like I said, when it's become intrusive, it's a problem, because people go to the movies generally for the experience that the movie affords them, and in most cases, it's escapist entertainment. Mm-hmm. So it takes you out of the daily, your normal life. If the product placement is so ever present that you're not having that experience, that you're just noticing the brand, that it basically becomes a big ad. You're not having that movie experience. You're having an ad experience,
Right.
and not a good one. So
There's a weird line too. It's like, I mean, at least as the product placement person, you're like, you want the product to be noticed. You want it to be, remembered to some degree, but you can't overstep that line. And where it is, who knows? It's probably different for every single scenario.
Yeah. For those watching this right now on YouTube, you probably noticed that our table's a little cluttered with some stuff. So we actually have some product on the table from Doritos. Now, Doritos is not a sponsor of this show. I wish they were. But for those
Join
watching,
the chamber.
Yeah.
Doritos.
Yeah.
are you listening, Frito-Lay?
Yeah. I think this is PepsiCo, though.
Is it?
Is Frito-Lay part of that? Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's right. There it is on the label.
Mitch is always right,
Yeah,
except when he's wrong.
Frito-Lay Incorporated, Plano, Texas.
Yeah. Why you may be asking that's on the table is because we're going to try to break a habit that John and I may have of saying a certain phrase. Robert will be buzzing in. So if you do hear that, that means we said it. And the punishment is to eat some of these hot versions of Doritos. So that is the purpose.
That's the antidote on the table.
And the antidote, if it gets really bad, the antidote is the milk that I had Mitch run and get on the way here at the last minute. Thank you, sir, for doing that.
Just call me the milkman.
Yeah. No, we're not. We're not.
We're gonna keep calling you Mitch.
Yeah, we're going to stick with that. John.
There was going back to Space Jam, the original.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't Carl Malone? Wasn't his nickname when he played? Was Carl Malone in
He's
Space Jam?
He's the mailman,
It was the mailman.
right?
Okay, maybe it was.
Not the milkman.
No, and don't ever call yourself that again. Don't do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh.
Okay, Carl, the mailman, Malone.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I think you're right.
I think you're right.
I think you're right. Darn
Okay.
it.
All right. Well,
First.
now that we got that out of the way,
Was Carl product placement? Let's talk about it.
yeah, I mean, well, there are three types of product placement. There's product exposure that appears on the screen. Okay, you have verbal exposure, which you're talking about it, so it's audio. You heard them say it, and I'll mention that an example of that here in a moment. And then you have just signage, just brand signage. I mean, it's kind of off the wall in the background. And you're kind of like, oh, look at that. Like, if you watch a Transformers movie, I dare you to count how many American flags are in that, and good for the company that makes those, because that's the only thing I could think of that is the placement for that.
I guess it is a brand technically.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of weird. It's a Michael Bay film, so you kind of have to just go with it. There's just, if you have watched any Transformers film, you'll notice multiple types of product placement, even from the very first movie with a Mountain Dew vending machine turning into a Decepticon. And for people tuning into the podcast right here at this moment, welcome. So,
What have I come into the middle of?
exactly. It's like, what did he say? It's called NerdBrand. We do veer into that. But yeah, that movie was like, even the one with Mark Wahlberg, who's from Texas with the Boston accent. Still, I'm going to rag on that forever. But, Budweiser was a pretty prominent brand. Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Who did it?
Dun, dun, dun.
That was me.
It's
That
not
was
really
you.
fair.
Pointed straight at you.
Eat.
It's really not fair because you
eat.
talk the most, so
I know. It's kind of like I have to. All right, so
don't crunch too hard in the mic.
Back up.
We won't watch you eat.
I'm watching him eat.
Yeah, when our host is down.
not pretty.
Oh, okay. I like Doritos, but not that one. Oh man.
Is it hot?
No, just just doesn't taste good.
We'll let you off the hook on that one.
He did it again.
We'll let you
Did it
off.
again?
We'll let you off the
Come
hook.
on,
He
man.
said the word.
We'll let you off the hook on that one.
Thank you. I was
Carry on. Are you crying?
No,
already?
I'm just like, it's just hitting
It's
the
just
back of
one
my
shit.
mouth, and yeah, but it doesn't taste good. I'm just saying, just being honest.
You're gonna cry.
No, I don't need that. I'm good. I just blah.
Let's talk about product placement.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go back to that.
Actually, I have a couple of examples of product placement. They're not real products, but they show up frequently in film.
Mhm.
The same fake brand names that show up in multiple movies and TV shows.
Okay.
Morley cigarettes. If you watch any television, if you ever watch the X-Files, or a number of other television shows. They'll have a pack of cigarettes, and they're Morley. It's a brand that they developed just for use in television and films. Quentin Tarantino has a brand of cigarette that shows up in his movies, and it's called Red Apple. It's been in a bunch of his films. This brand of cigarette. And if you look at the packaging, a lot of times it'll take on the look of a prominent brand that you might be familiar with, but not quite.
Right.
Like Marlboro?
Exactly.
Okay.
Like Morley cigarettes really look like a pack of Marlboro Reds. I think I saw them in a couple episodes of Supernatural as well. Let's see, Morley cigarettes. Another one is Heisler beer. The label looks very real. It looks like a real beer, but it's not. It's been in remember the TV show My Name Is Earl? Mm-hmm. It would figure prominently there. There was a movie called Beer Fest. It was in
Appropriate.
So it's been in a number of different. I've seen it in a lot of different TV shows. I think I was watching Justified, and it showed up in a couple of episodes of Justified. One more, Oceanic Airlines has been in a lot of television shows. In the TV show, if you guys remember the show Jag,
Yeah.
it was used in that. It was also, I think, used in the one where they're all on the island. Lost. It was the airline that was featured in Lost. So it's just funny. You see these brands and you think they show up in so many different films and TV shows. You just kind of, it must be real. It's fake. They just developed it to be used.
They should make it real.
They should.
That would be an interesting kind of branding marketing strategy, is to start the product in product placement in a movie, and then
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the point. Dang gone. Did I just do that? Did
You guys
he?
carry
Is it
on.
him or me?
I'm gonna get a small one.
That's cheating.
It was John. Oh.
That has a lot on it.
That's
wow,
really
that's
red.
really red. I'm glad I picked the one I picked, I guess.
Carry on.
Okay. So product placement actually helps PR and brand recognition. That's kind of the point, which translates into helping sales. It's like it's just basic brand awareness. If it's visually, if it's seen, if it's out there, then there's a good chance people will buy it. And if you have a celebrity promoting it, there is actual studies that have shown the percentage of the chances of that product being purchased and then repurchased just because of that.
Well, that's what gave rise to the whole influencer movement was. And these are basically they don't start as celebrities, but they become celebrities because they promote products or demo products. Yeah. So that's kind of the modern version of the celebrity spokesperson, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. There's also, I kind of want to see if Josh, if you want to talk about sponsorships.
Oh, I'll talk about sponsorships all day long.
Do it.
Because, that's the bulk of what I sell, right? Mm-hmm. So when we do a sponsorship for a chamber event or for anything regarding the chamber, we're pushing your brand right there along ours.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be anything from, our annual meeting on February 10th, where we're doing Happy Ever After storybook characters. And I'm looking for a sponsor for the Royal Ball, which is immediately following the annual meeting. We're going to do silent disco. And so we're going to plug your name repeatedly throughout the event. We're going to have your logo all over the room. Probably you might get me to wear your logo on my costume if you give me enough money. Whatever it takes.
Well, see, and that speaks to the value of brands piggybacking off the power of each of them, right? Mm-hmm. You make your brand stand out even more by pairing with another strong brand.
Absolutely,
it's kind of a win-win.
There's some words for that, and I'm lost, but I remember learning about them in college. I'm not eating another chip, Robert.
That was, man. Wasn't that the deal?
I will get one here in just a minute. But there are words for that. I think one of them is the halo effect.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
I feel like that's when a brand makes a new extension, and like a Procter & Gamble. I'm sorry, I said it again. You didn't even catch it. But a Procter & Gamble, when they release a product, all right, there's another one.
Now you got 3. Oh,
Well, I'll
man.
just sit over here and eat the whole
Let me
time.
just give you a few bags.
Yeah, just take a bag.
Just scoot the whole thing down here. I'll just shut up now. I think you guys get my point.
So it's like kind of basking in the glow of
It's a halo.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
There's
Yeah.
a reputational gain by
Right.
just being associated with. It's the same thing with a celebrity or an influencer. You want their reputation, their notoriety to kind of pass down to your product.
gives you credibility.
Yeah, yeah. One of the when I was going down the YouTube rabbit hole the other day, I was watching various clips from Winter Soldier, and there was moments that I mean, that movie still holds up in my opinion after all this time.
Mm-hmm.
For those that don't know, that's the sequel to the first Captain America. And I was watching when they were running, and he's like on your left, and he keeps doing that. It sounds like, okay, I got it on your left, you know. And well, there you go. I have to eat one now. So,
I'm trying not to chew too loud.
yeah.
Oh, please do.
In the movie Corvette, it surprised me. I didn't even pay attention to it until I went down this rabbit hole. I'm going to grab a chip right now. So
Are you talking about Black Widow's, the vehicle the Black Widow shows up in?
Yeah, Corvette is a brand that doesn't really advertise. Have you noticed? When's the last time you've seen a Corvette commercial?
I haven't seen a Corvette
Last week.
commercial.
Really?
I'm just messing with you.
I don't think I've ever seen a Corvette
Yeah.
commercial.
No.
Yeah, either.
I've seen it. I've seen it show up in a Chevy ad.
Yes, as a part of the lineup of
Right.
family of Chevys, but by itself, no. I've owned Corvettes in the past, and you know that. Well, there's 2 chips for me.
Humble brag.
Well, no, the reason I say that is because I was very aware because it was the car I was driving. And so for that time, I never saw a commercial. So I know that that didn't happen then. And so it's been probably a decade or more.
Yeah.
The Corvette showing up there was the new one at the time.
Mhm.
It was the new body style.
Mm-hmm.
And when she pulled away after picking up Captain America, the camera, the frame, you have to watch like cinematography a little bit. It's a very fascinating subject. When she pulls away, that camera just kind of hones in on the back of that car, which is iconic with the 4 taillights and then the big emblem in the middle. And I just sat there watching this and going like, they just placed a product and no one really probably maybe caught it.
But see, that's to me, that's one of the neat things about smart product placement is that it's not intrusive. It's organic. It's organic to the film.
I'm sorry, it's not you. It just nasty tasted.
Hey, that look you're giving, it's like, what am I saying something wrong?
No.
So yeah, that's the best kind of product placement, I think, is when it feels or it makes sense. And I think that's originally why, well, maybe not the only reason, but I think that had to be part of the reason why filmmakers wanted these brands in their films to begin with, because it lends an air of reality. It places that film within the realm of sort of the real world. It makes people feel like they're in it.
Yeah, I think you see a lot of it in like 90, early 2000s sitcoms or 90s, late 80s. Like, I didn't even say it that time, did I? Well,
The referee says you did.
I think we have a confirmation.
referee. Well, all right.
I think I have to do another one because I did 2.
I owe you 2 or 4.
Yeah, you're going to finish the bag off before we're done.
I'm pretty hungry, so. But like Seinfeld, there's a lot of product placement in that show. If you pay attention, I feel like I saw honeycombs and like Cheez-Its.
Well, especially cereal, because that's kind of a running gag in Seinfeld. Is he's always, how many episodes you watch? He's eating a bowl of cereal. He's really Jerry Seinfeld really likes cereal.
If it's not him, it's Kramer.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I didn't even notice that. I mean, I've not been a Seinfeld fan. Sorry. It's not a show.
I know far more than I really probably should.
There's bits and pieces that I remember about it because of you. Wasn't that the show that was like, date your number? Like you date within your number? Was that Seinfeld?
No,
You remember? You ever
that
heard?
doesn't ring a bell.
Everybody's looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, all right, well, you know what? We're going to move on. Maybe that's another podcast episode for later. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's really funny. Josh, I'll
I
eat
got
one.
nothing.
Josh, you're looking at us like, has this show just gotten more chaotic since last?
It was a little put together last time you came
It
in.
started with the Doritos.
Yeah. It was good effort. Let's talk about Toy Story. Just to, let's
Absolutely.
dig right in. Don't buzz. I'm going somewhere with this one. My son has recently gotten into Toy Story and won't let us stop watching it. And he's 3. And I know that's like your favorite, Pixar film. And that has plenty of product placement. Let's talk about it.
Mattel.
Ooh,
Mr. Potato.
Etch a sketch.
Barbie.
Pick your
Yeah, because
toy.
you got Barbie.
Everything.
I mean, you look at the brands within the brand. I mean, you've got Mattel, but you've got Barbie. Mr. Potato Head isn't technically a Mattel brand, but
Well, I think
Yeah,
it
but
is.
It's still a product placement. I
you're
mean,
right.
yeah,
No, right.
You've got
right,
Etch a
right.
Sketch. You got
Oh,
what's
yeah.
the other one. I mean, the 2 main characters became their own,
Yeah.
legendary
I mean,
merchandise / product placement.
the classic Play School phone, I think, is in
Yeah.
is in there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any of those toys when you were growing up, Josh?
Oh, I had a bunch of those toys, and now my 3-year-old has some of those toys as a result of
Mhm.
falling in love
That's
with the
what's
movie
crazy.
along with her
I
dad.
must have missed that you had a 3-year-old.
I do.
You and John then have a lot in common.
Mm-hmm. We didn't sleep last night, probably.
Oh no, mine's
I
in the
didn't.
sleeping phase, but I have an 11-year-old that doesn't sleep. She gets up all hours of the night, but that's
Just-
beside the point.
Just having dogs that get you up in the night, does that count?
I
That's
mean,
kind of like having
no.
perpetual toddlers in the
Yes,
house.
that's true.
No sleep is no sleep.
That's
you
right.
know? It counts.
Well, my reason for no sleep is just nasal congestion, but you can. I know I need to eat a chip. I caught it.
We're going to sound like a bunch of old people sitting here talking about our ailments
And,
before this
look,
goes on much further.
It's like, my elbow hurts all the time when it rains.
Then I'm going to tell you to
My
open a
rheumatiz.
product place called Dee Dee at 502 Hemp, and she can take care of it.
There you go.
There you go.
Free plug. We love Dee Dee. So, organically, we talked about when placed, it works best. When it's forced, people hate it because they know it.
Can we go back to that one for a second?
Yeah.
Because there is one where it's pretty much forced in front of you, but I think we all loved it for that reason, and that's Wayne's World. Because
Mhm.
he would work
True.
those in, and it would be funny, and we would laugh. And
Yeah,
I didn't think about it until years later, but now I'm like, that was pretty genius.
they broke the
It
fourth
was.
wall, didn't they? In that film,
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So,
It almost parodies influencers before influencers were a thing.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, Wayne's World was how Steve Jobs described podcasting. It's like the Wayne's World
yeah.
radio.
Public access television. This reminds me of that. Back in the,
It's really starting to get closer and closer.
it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
And we're not the only ones.
Uh-huh.
No, well, Marvel. Let's go into Marvel Studios. Let's try to think about some of those films. What other brands have you seen? Because I know some of us here, a lot of us here, are fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Burger King showed up in the first Iron Man film. When he
Yeah.
when he comes home after having been released, they found him and
Yeah, that was pretty prominent.
bring him back home. Yeah, he wants a burger really bad. So where's he go? He goes to Burger King.
Yeah. Acura.
That was in especially the early Marvel films.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Acura's in there. I just pointed out Chevrolet with Corvette. So
I mean, the Acuras were kind of hard to miss because that was when they had the body style that had that large chrome piece on the front end. So it was like they didn't have to have the name. You just saw that car, and it was immediately recognizable what kind of car it is. And those cars were all over the first 2 Marvel films.
when do y'all think that the change happened from, like you brought up, fake products?
Hold on. Hold your thought. Hold the thought.
Oh.
There's especially in the Iron Man films, Audi
Oh.
is very prominently placed
Really?
because Tony drives the Audi sports cars in most of the films he appears in.
I don't remember.
Sorry,
that.
I didn't want to forget it.
No, you're good. When do you all think that the transition happened from using fake products to real ones? Where it kind of felt like for me, it was like they threw off we don't care anymore. Here's Coca-Cola sitting on the table. Like that's something that I just feel like there was a moment in television and movie history that happened, and it felt like it was the late 90s, early aughts.
I think it started a little bit in the 80s, but you still see. I mean, it's funny because you still see these fake products showing up.
Yeah.
Or you'll still even see in some sitcoms a box of cereal where they've tried to kind of camouflage somehow like the name. They still do it.
Yeah.
They still try to show, well, this is a oh man.
Finally.
Hey, finally, Mitch.
Jason will share his chips.
Well, I'm going to try one you guys haven't opened.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go for the.
I have a pretty high tolerance for spicy stuff. So
what is this? Doritos
Pretty red.
flamed something. I don't know.
That's chili.
Dynam-
chili something.
Dynamita chili limon.
Okay. And thanks, Mitch, for that. Exaggerated.
Chomping right in.
Limon.
I'm going to say.
Oh, I know. You can just say it like a normal person, though.
Not really
Lemon.
kicking me. I think,
Oh, he's just
He
gonna
just
keep
went for
eating them.
two.
All right.
You know what? He took one of mine. I'm going to say that. That's going to be a thing.
Hey,
or one of
I
yours.
have like 11.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you got to finish the bag off is what I think is
will.
going to happen.
I just don't think everybody wants to hear me chew the rest of the show.
I'm going to have one more.
Okay, Mitch
I
must
would-
really like these things because he just keeps eating them.
Yeah, we're going to probably have to amp up
Can
our...
you stop chewing like a camel?
Well, that's for the benefit of our audio listeners so they can get the full experience.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Mitch, in order for you to get Doritos as a sponsor, they got to give you cash first. So
Right.
you can't keep promoting them, man, until they give you the money.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
Kind of going, you're going in the wrong direction. Here's a napkin so you don't have to
Oh, thank you.
know.
Yes. COVID.
It's got just got. Well, they're my own.
Start
finger.
licking the table.
Yeah, don't lick the table. Don't make a mess because we do.
I
have to
don't know
clean
where
it
this
up.
table's been.
in this room probably for the last I don't know.
Oh,
Robert.
they may
2 years good.
Okay,
they may move it every night.
Yeah, they may move it now and then.
those have a little bit of just a little tingle to them.
Yeah.
But, you should really try these. You guys should.
All righty. Well, we'll see.
I would say your transition happened probably around the time where all the eyeballs were on TV.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's just my guess. Is
Well, I mean, I don't know if it counted as product placement as we know it.
It's got to the point where Robert, you don't even have to like hit the buzzer. We're just like,
No,
oh,
but that's the point. We're becoming self-aware.
good.
I back in the early days of television, like in the 50s, sponsorship was very blatant. Most of your more popular TV shows, it'd be like, I don't know, the Jack Benny Show, sponsored by,
Yeah.
and you knew going into it, they were a part of the show
Mm-hmm.
because sponsorship is what helped pay for the production of these television shows.
Yeah.
It wasn't coming out of the pocket of the networks. These sponsors, okay, we'll buy into it, and that's you'll mention our name if we pay for the show.
Yeah.
And that's basically how commercials. That was where they were birthed from, more or less. The whole show was basically a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not that we want to go back to that, but I have to give our guest the platform of, once again, you just made a really great point of why Josh does what Josh does. And I mean, that pays for what you guys do. I mean, if this wants to continue, people need to step up and sponsor. I say that knowing that we sit here as one of the members of the chamber.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how much money am I getting out of NerdBrand? Let's have that discussion right now.
$1.50.
Yeah, about $3.50.
Like some milk.
Can we barter?
All right, listen, if you bring milk to the annual meeting, then you can put your logo on it and we'll place it on the table.
Oh, there you go.
See, I mean,
It'll
I know
sit
how
there
to work
the whole
this.
night.
I mean, listen, I know how to
curl.
work this. I mean, we just sold a sponsorship to somebody for Inspire for tissues because people kept crying at this event and there were no tissues anywhere. So now, when you pick up your tissues, you think of famous Shelley Gardner with Keller Williams Louisville East.
Oh, there you go.
'Cause that's
Yeah.
the branding piece,
There you go.
right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's also interesting that people cry at the events. What's going on over
Well,
there?
Okay, that event is all about telling women's stories, and when you start talking about putting babies up for adoption,
yeah.
and you
Oh,
start
yeah.
talking about people's lives and the challenges in them.
Pull on the
I'm
old
not eating
heartstrings.
those things. I already
Oh.
told them I wouldn't. But nice try.
Our guest is
Now I'm
not
out.
participating.
I'm out.
I'll eat one for you.
Yeah, Mitchell.
Guest
Mitchell, take it.
prerogative. I'm not doing it.
I think you like them, Mitch.
I do. I like these.
You can have the rest of the bags.
No, just these.
I just know that Robert at the Speakeasy Podcast Network, you guys going to enjoy these Doritos for the next month, probably, if that gets that far. You
Who doesn't love Doritos?
Yeah, well, but
You know.
can't stop it.
You can't stop.
You don't
it.
know what you don't know. And what's interesting is the way especially with television, how the sponsorship thing has evolved. Whereas they used to pay for the production of the series, it had a very utilitarian purpose. It just happened to be a perfect marriage. Now, the television shows it's the other way around. They're just vehicles for people to advertise on because they draw an audience. It's just funny how that has, in the modern era, how that has changed.
Yeah. Well, Josh, you want to like tell the listeners and those that watch it on YouTube like how they can get in touch, either from like, because I want to give you the platform for a little bit to promote the chamber and what you're doing there with St. Matthew's and everything, and maybe how they can sponsor. And we'll put the links in the description below on the video for those on YouTube if they want to look it up.
Hey, I won't turn down a chance to sell the chamber, man. That's what I do. So if you're looking to network with about 1,400 businesses in the Louisville area, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Right now, a couple of events we have coming up that we're looking for sponsors is the annual meeting. That is one of the largest events we produce with about 200 people at the Olmsted on February 10th. This is the one event where I get you to wear costumes and it's totally acceptable and not weird. So one more reason for you to join us that evening.
I can think of one of the nerds on staff that actually would appreciate that, but go ahead. You might actually wear a costume.
I mean, it's storybook characters. Come on. We could dress you as Mrs. Potts and you could be Chip, and that could be highly entertaining.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, probably won't have it.
Sign me up.
Jason didn't seem too excited about that.
Because I kept thinking about what's a Mrs. Potts?
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I connected it later when he
gosh.
looked at John and said Chip, and I'm like, oh.
Got it.
That's Jason's Saturday night.
You know, if you want to sponsor the
I'm
event
sorry.
that makes
It's probably
everybody
true.
cry, you can come sponsor Inspire. Our first speaker, ironically, in the series this year is Dee Dee Taylor with 502M. So, you know, those types of events always have different ways that you can sponsor them. And then really, above everything else, just become a member, because that's where you really first make that connection, is to get out there and network and become a member of the chamber and join the second largest chamber in the Louisville area. Not to throw a plug in, but to throw that plug in.
No, throw
Throw
that
the plug in.
Throw that plug in.
While
So
we're here.
we're kind of talking about product placement, and this is sort of both audio
Right.
and visual.
Yeah.
So you're the visual part, and the audio part's on Spotify. YouTube is where you can go and watch it. You can click like and subscribe. See how it transitioned into that?
Yeah.
That was smooth.
I know
If
it,
you
right?
need
Yeah.
details on the chamber,
It's
go
like
to
a-
stmatthewschamber.com. That's the best way to find out what's going on.
There you go.
Can I want to throw on one little thing before we go, because the podcast you just posted kind of made fun of my mom a little bit. I did.
Mhm.
Today, January 14th, the day that we are recording this, is my mom's 80th birthday.
Oh,
that's
Well, there you
awesome.
go.
happy birthday, Mom.
We've got a lot of friends at NerdBrand, a lot of people that like us and say good things about us, but one in particular is my mother. She's very loyal to us as a brand,
Mm-hmm.
so I just want to let her know.
She even likes our I think our Facebook statuses.
Our Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, she's out there liking it. So
Yeah.
happy birthday, Barbara Faye Clifford Gregory. Love you. See you at dinner tonight.
Give her some finger guns while we're at it.
Yeah, just do
There
the
you go.
pew pew.
There you go. Can't let you off the hook. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah, anyways, you can check out the NerdBrand Podcast at nerdbrandagency.com/podcast. Go to YouTube, search for us there. Just search for NerdBrand. You'll find us. Again, like, subscribe, share. Find us across the internets on social at NerdBrand Agency. We're pretty consistent with that. And remember, everybody out there, keep your nerd brand strong.